Peace. Welcome to Spears and Mics. Um, I'm one of the hosts, Zulu King L1, and I got my beloved brother Shaka Zulu Watt Slice in the building.
Hey,
Um, peace. Uh, so today, um, we're gonna talk about. We've been wanting to talk about this for a while. We've been wanting to do this episode for about a week and a half now. When this information dropped about Afrika Bambaataa, I'm sure most of the hip hop world, the hip hop community, has heard by now that the judge has come to like a default decision in the Bronx Supreme Court, and they ruled in favor of John Doe, saying that because Afrika Bambaataa has not appeared at any of the court dates for this alleged sexual abuse um, court appearances, he was found, I guess, guilty by default, and now it is going to go to like some type of arbitrator or something like that. Like
mhm.
I think the lingo was special referee. Never heard of that type of term. That's going to decide as to what takes place going forward with the case, because it's a civil case. It's not a criminal case. Because of, I believe, the statutes of limitations. Well, that was lifted, right? It's always been a civil case.
Right. Hmm.
With this. So I'm not sure if if the statute of limitations have been lifted for survivors to come forward, why it can't be a criminal case. Not sure, why it can't be a criminal case, but nevertheless, it's been a civil case, and John Doe filed in 2021 after the window was about to close. I think it was filed like one of the last few days it could actually be filed in New York State. Um, which is kind of crazy because if you're gonna open up the window for survivors to um report what took place, they should have gave like a not an infinite window but a good amount of time for someone to see if they could muster up the strength to come forward. I'm sure this isn't easy for survivors of sexual abuse to come forward, and especially in cases when it's people like Africa Bambaataa that are influential, famous, prestigious, have all these accolades, power, um, people that are world renowned. But shout out to John Doe and congratulations to John Doe.
Well,
Um, it isn't like this congratulations is from our heart because we know like the strength that it must have taken to even go file, right? To say that you were 12 years old, I believe, when this started, and to know that there's been other brothers that have come forward, brothers such as Hassan Poppy Campbell, that many of you all know. Like that's probably one of the most famous people that have come forward. Uh, and then Ronald B. Stinger Savage as well, though he recanted his initial statement saying that Bambaataa didn't what he had. What was it that he said he had a fake
he
ID?
said it was. He said he had a fake ID and it was more or less consensual.
Right, right. That's exactly what he said. It was
Yeah, he said he
consensual.
forgot to mention that he had a fake ID, so he was.
Yeah,
Um, I guess Bam was under the impression that he was of age,
of
and
age, right.
so it was more of a consensual thing rather
Right,
than some like molestation or abuse.
right.
Um,
That was what was reported, and if I recall correctly, even Funk Master Flex said this on High 97. He said
mhm. Trying to
it
exonerate.
was right. He said it was consensual.
Uh,
Um, so hey, I wasn't in the clubs with Bambaataa and Beasting in '83. So what took place between them, that's between them. Um, Unfortunately, we know quite a few brothers that have come forward through the years,
mhm,
in our time, in our long-standing time, uh,
mhm.
as leaders or so-called high-ranking members of the Universal Zulu Nation, right? We've now come to hear these stories from brothers that we came up with, professing their pain and their truth. and we stand by the survivors. And
Right. Definitely.
yeah, that's never going to change. We ain't going to bend on that. Despite the fact that many people are seem to be delusional when it comes to this situation. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of disheartening to see the reaction or the lack of reaction, or the fact that people aren't willing to address the elephant in the room, right? When you got something so strong as the Universal Zulu Nation, and then having that fracture due to the founders' alleged actions, and then just people in just different directions with it, you know. But we'll unpack that a little bit more later on. I don't want to get too like deep with it. This is it's heavy. It's heavy on me, and it's heavy on all us brothers and sisters that have done our best to cope with the truth, accept the truth, and work through it. You know, because there's people that have taken the easy road, and it's easy to be in denial of something, even when like when something happens to someone that you look up to, a loved one, someone beloved to you, something foul happens. It's easy to be in denial and be like, nah, that didn't take place. But for us to be in that state, it would be an absolute disrespect to the survivors that we know for so long, that are so genuine, and so loved by us, you know what I mean? And beyond that, right, like, you have to accept the truth, and you have to find a way to, like, not move past it, because you ain't gonna move past it, but cope with it and make sure this doesn't continue to happen. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, you gotta like close the door on certain people, like enablers. You know what I'm saying? Regardless
Hmm.
of how much love or respect you or admiration you have for people. You know what I'm saying? And that was a challenge for a lot of young brothers, that, to close the door, or just not even close the door, but distance ourselves from people that, I don't want to say, maybe they're not in denial, but they just don't want to address it. They don't want to
Right.
take action or a plan of action. You know what I'm
They don't want the
saying?
brand to get ruined.
Right. When you put that in perspective like that, the brand, and when I heard the brother say that, right? Like, I've never heard Zulu Nation ever been called a brand.
Brand. Right.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And I've been Zulu 28 years, and that was the first time I ever heard it called a brand.
Right.
That shit don't when he said that, that shit, like, it put my
Right.
brain in a different gear, because I'm like,
Hmm.
yo, brand,
We
like,
didn't join for a brand.
right, we didn't join
Like
for a
we
brand.
didn't know it was a brand. We joined because we loved hip hop. We joined because of the culture of it. Me personally, I joined for the grassroots of it and the so-called knowledge part of it.
Hmm.
And I mean, unfortunately, we got into other activity besides that, like, kind of like the gang element of it, because it
Hmm.
always existed, right?
Hmm.
But we didn't know about a brand. We didn't know about a cult. We didn't know about like the underground things that was going on, and because had we known, I don't think a lot of us who were like-minded would have joined,
Right. Most
you know.
certainly. Right. If that was in the light, um, to us, we would have been fell back. We wouldn't even have made it to manhood. Like, we would have
Right,
left as kids, you know what I'm saying? And it would have
right,
probably been something at this stage in our life that we wouldn't even think about it, or like,
right. I
you know what I mean?
probably would have finished school.
You know what I mean? Yeah, we would have been. I know, had I not put the energy and the time and experienced the
Right,
pain, the trials, the tribulations, the pain, the blood, the sweat, the tears that I
right.
experienced for Zulu, had I not did that, I most certainly would be further in life. And I'm not gonna blame anyone but
Mm.
myself,
Right,
because
'cause it was our choice.
it was our
It was our
choice.
choice,
We
right?
was doing we was doing most of this with great pleasure. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? Real talk. So
I
when
don't
I hear
regret
a
anything, to be honest.
yeah, I don't
I
regret
don't
anything
regret anything.
other than being blind to the truth that was
Right, right, right.
kind of like
In our face.
in our
But
face to a degree, in our face
right.
to a degree, because we hear the whispers, we hear the
Hmm.
rumors, and then but it's just
Hmm.
not clicking because the way they hitting us with the technology, like yeah,
Right,
the whispering devil,
right.
the
The speller
greatest, the
King
great,
Goo and
yeah,
Leviathan.
the greatest sin is gossip. That's in the Zulu
Right,
lessons, real shit.
right,
It's called the
right.
laws of
No.
success, and it's
Hmm.
called the greatest sin is gossip, right? So when they harping on these things, it becomes like a mental programming. So you like, yeah, now the greatest sin is gossip. You talking about the founder, the father, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, and then
Not my
people
damn
don't,
father.
right, yeah, for real. Um, so like that's going on, but when that brother said, the brand, I was like, wow, like that's how he sees it. This is like a
Right,
corporation for him, like a money grab.
right. A money
This is a
grab, yeah.
business.
Something he could
It's a
use.
business, right? It's a business. And he's only concerned with the financial fallout
Right.
of what's going on.
It's
He
kind
don't
of like
care. Yeah.
it's kind of like using the Wu-Tang Phoenix logo, like everybody using it. Like I'm gonna use it
Mm-hmm.
for to gain,
Mm-hmm.
wealth or recognition or whatever. Like whatever else is going on, I could care
Mm-hmm.
less about it. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And at the end of the day, like um, a lot of the lessons that we learned were from like 5%, NOI, um, some Islam, whether you want to call it pseudo Islam, and things like that, and more science and all of that infused into one. These were in the lessons, and it's like you got to protect the babies. So basically, when he's saying you got to protect the brand, he's not thinking about the babies.
Right.
Like we are, you know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
because we grew up in it, so we were the babies at one point
Right.
when we first came, into it. And it's like
Yeah.
they don't give a damn about the babies. And not to cut your wisdom, but I was listening to and shout out to Doggy Diamonds, like I always,
Base
try to
salute.
stay in tune with
Base
him. And
salute.
I was listening to him recently, and he wasn't talking about this in particular. He wasn't mentioning Bam. He hasn't mentioned that in a while, but he was mentioning how like people be saying like protect the babies, like rappers, so-called conscious people
Mm-hmm.
and all of that, and they really don't give a damn about the babies
Yeah.
at all. They're
Mm-hmm.
they're about their pockets, they're about their following, they're about like them,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, and how they could obtain,
Mm-hmm.
a following and wealth and all of that. And it's really
Yeah.
not about the children,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? And the children are the one being either abused or neglected,
Yeah.
you know what
Exploited.
I'm saying? Yeah, exploited, right. So
A perfect example of this is KRS-One, right? Nobody, I don't think, in hip hop expected the so-called teacher, right? A brother that, one of my favorites throughout, a couple of generations, you know what I'm saying?
mhm,
I bought so many of his albums. He got to me classics with BDP. His first 3 to 4 solo joints to me are
mhm,
bona fide classics in my book. Um, and to hear his response when he was on Drink Champs, it was irresponsible.
right.
Um, Irresponsible, disrespectful, and it's just not in it's not aligned with the what you've projected at since you've been like on the solo path, um and
It's
calling yourself
irresponsible
the
for Drink
teacher.
Champs too, though, for
It
not checking
is.
them. Because like
It
like like
is.
I said, if we're really about the babies and about the youth,
Mm-hmm.
like like those brothers allegedly were underage at the time. So you supposed to, and Nori, you're a 5%er. So it's supposed to be
Mm-hmm.
all about the babies with
Mm-hmm.
y'all,
Right.
man, women, and child. Like you're supposed to protect your earth and the stars and the
Mm-hmm.
wisdom and the understanding and all that jargon. The jargon is cool when you reciting it, but when you really gotta put it into
Right.
life and really into action and show and prove, like
Right.
they say, you really not doing it. You
Right,
know what I'm
right,
saying?
right,
Because it's not directly affecting you. It's not
right.
affecting your kids. It's not affecting
Mm-hmm.
your babies and the people you're around, but it's babies in general. Like we supposed to,
Yeah.
like, it's the world. You know what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
just not your immediate circle and who you're around.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it was wrong of KRS, but it was wrong of them too, interviewing them and
Yeah.
asking them,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. They should have distanced themselves from that statement and said that they,
absolutely.
um, but I get,
I wouldn't even put it out.
yeah, it shouldn't have been put out. But like someone to me, whatever. If we've had guests, and I may not necessarily agree with everything our guest says or someone we're interviewing. But it's okay to challenge your guest, especially if it doesn't align with our principles. Because most of our guests are always Zulu, you know what I'm saying, or somebody connected to the history of Zulu Nation or whatever. But it we gotta beware of when people say things and people show you that their words are not aligned with like the character they project or the persona that they so-called carry. We gotta like recognize these red flags and we gotta like call them out on it. And I know publicly a lot of people have called Bambaataa, I mean not Bambaataa, KRS-One out. It seems like every time KRS-One's mentioned on social media or some type of hip hop forum, people are always referencing his stance and his statement on
Right,
Bambaataa. And I don't know if Chris cares for it, but like, yo, to me personally, like someone who's as dope and as talented as him, I would care about my legacy and how people view me. And I wouldn't want that on my jacket. You know what I'm
right,
saying? And I would have been clarified that up and backtracked on it, even if it wasn't even genuine, he should have did it. Like, cause at
right,
least maybe
right,
that would have
yeah,
took the heat off. But just the fact that he hasn't shows that he stands on that and he really don't care and he's not the teacher because no teacher is going to demonstrate like that. That's not what the culture is. You know what I'm
right,
saying? Like they say hip hop culture is peace, love, unity, and having fun, right? And that was taken from the Zulu Nation. That's straight from the Universal Zulu Nation. And that's not peaceful when you talk about violating young men in the urban community. That's not no form of love. It's
right,
certainly not bringing unification, and that may be only having fun to the perpetrator. It certainly ain't fun to the survivor or the victim. So
no,
these things that were taking place got nothing to do with the true core elements of hip hop or you know and that's why like you start to realize that a lot of these people are full of shit. You know what I'm saying? There's really
hmm,
no other way to look at it. You know what I'm saying? People don't care for the people. People don't care for the babies. People don't care for the youth. People don't care for um like justice. You know what I'm saying? Like brothers is always down to go for street justice. People are always talking about serving justice. People are always
hmm.
talking this and that's it. They don't and no nothing
It's no
happens.
action, right?
No
Like
action. No
you and I,
accountability.
right? You and I've been talking for a while before, like contemplating doing this episode, and like we're on social media and we see like the people making fun, some of these people that are his fans or followers or so-called friends within the organization, members or
So-called
whatever you want
Zulus.
to call, right? They're making fun of Diddy and but
Hmm.
standing with him,
Yeah.
but standing with Bam and like professing Bam's innocence. And like I will say this, and I said this before, like Bam needs some type of healing too. You know what I'm saying? He needs some
Oh,
type
no.
of help. And,
Hmm.
like I'm gonna continue to say that. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like, regardless, like he did something foul, um, very horrible, like horrific. You know what I'm saying? Allegedly, these things like and we know, like you said, we know people personally that have experienced um these heinous crimes. You know what I'm saying? It's abuse. Um, but like his fanboys, like the fan base saying he's innocent, whether you know it to be true or not, like that's like real disrespectful and disingenuous to people that have been abused and hurt by him, you know, and then you like making fun of Diddy because
Mm-hmm.
this is like something publicized and like Bam thing was swept under the rug because
Mm-hmm.
um he's an icon, but he's not as like, you know, notarized as Diddy, because Diddy's
Mm-hmm.
always been in the public, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and
And
it's whack.
more
Yeah, more
recent,
recent,
yeah.
right? But it's whack though. You know what
It
I'm
is.
saying? It's whack and they corny, and like if I see it, I'm gonna just like make a comment on it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I'm gonna say what I gotta say, you know, and it might not mean nothing, but like a lot of you guys, a lot of you so-called brothers that have carrying Muslim names, you know, Allah says in Quran, oppression is worse than death, and that's oppression. Like any form of abuse, continued abuse, that's oppression. And if you stand in with that as a Muslim, woe to you. That's all I gotta say. And we're not perfect. I'm not sitting up
Mm-hmm.
here preaching like I'm some perfect and like I don't sin, and you know I ask for forgiveness every day, and that's my personal, you know, like everybody has things they go through and all of that, but like I'm not defending. Like I'm gonna speak wrong if it's like, even if I'm doing it, I'm speaking it. I hate the things I do. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? So
Mm-hmm.
I and I'm supposed to. Like there's a saying in Arabic called wala wal bara, and it means to love for the sake of Allah and to hate for the sake of Allah. And when you hate for it, it's like you hate what you do also.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they got a saying, hate the sin, not the sinner. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So like you doing this, like backing Bam, no Bam. He's like you
Mm-hmm.
supporting him because he done gave you some money. He might have bailed you out of jail. He
Mm-hmm.
might have saved your life. He might have served as a father figure to you. You get
Mm-hmm.
him some help if you care about him and you stand by him. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? Advise
Mm.
him.
Yeah.
Advise
Right.
him and stop defending and saying you put your life on the line and all of this. Are you
Mm-hmm.
sure about that?
Right.
And you Muslim talking like that. And you Muslim talking like
I'll
that.
go to war to protect him.
Yeah, yeah.
Um.
But you Muslim talking like that though. Remember that.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, your oath is not to a man. You know what I'm saying? Your oath is not to a man. Remember, and I'm talking to the ones that say they Muslim, that say La ilaha illallah. Not the ones that when they see you, they just say peace. They don't say assalamu alaikum. I'm talking to them. The other characters, you know, like it's obvious, you know, but the ones that's supposed to know better, you've been Muslim 40, 50 years or whatever. I'm talking to y'all.
Right.
Like
The
I'm
brother,
not
this
afraid either.
the
You know what I'm
same
saying?
brothers that say, if you know better, you show better. Right.
Right.
How many times have you heard that at a universal meeting
Every
in
every
Harlem?
every time. Every time.
Right. That becomes like a slogan that brothers
Hmm.
say, and these brothers know better, but they're not showing better.
Yeah.
But yet they, you know what I mean, expect us
Yeah.
to show better.
But it's brainwashing and it's cult like, you know what I'm saying? It's cult like because like a lot of that stuff, a lot of those words, it doesn't leave their chest. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just words. It's just hairspray, as they say. It's just blowing the wind. No real meaning.
Mm-hmm.
They want you to follow it. Do as I say, not as I do. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And they had some of us. They had some of us. Brothers used to come out of those meetings hyped.
Had us fooled. The
Yeah.
clarity, the
Yeah, yeah, right, right,
clarity,
right, right, right,
the
right, right,
clarity,
right, right,
due
right,
to the
right,
nature
right,
of the
right, man. You
topic,
got
due to the
yeah,
nature of the topic. When he said
right. We got it.
they had some of
Yeah,
us fooled.
right, right, right.
As they said, under the spell of King Gu, the spell of
And Leviathan, yeah,
Leviathan. You
spell
know what I mean?
Leviathan
You know what I'm saying?
had us
So,
hype,
yeah, they
trying to get money, out of young teenagers' pockets and we didn't even have jobs. And
Right.
this dude is a cultural icon. He's a hip hop icon and had money, got money,
Hmm.
still touring, still doing stuff. And you trying to pull money from brothers that's barely grad. A lot of brothers couldn't even read. I'm gonna keep it
Yeah.
real. But a lot of brothers, ask brothers to read something. Brothers couldn't even read. And
Yeah.
you passing a hat around asking for
Yeah.
donation. The best nation
Yeah.
is a donation. Remember that?
Right.
How many
Yeah.
times you heard that?
Yeah. And brothers barely even could afford to get to Harlem. Like
That's a
basically
fact.
jump the turnstile to
It-
get uptown.
and this is when the
And
fare was
then
250.
whoa,
Probably
man,
less than that. Probably
less
less than
dollar
that. It
seventy
was like it
five or
might have been a
something. Like
dollar 75 or a buck 50.
right. Yeah, for
Word.
real.
And then scrambling to get a slice of pizza or something
A beef patty.
afterwards. And
Yeah,
yeah, word. And on the way back.
for
Because
real.
we were the ones like really involved and invested in this because we believed it. You
Right.
know what I'm saying? And to be like I said, like, we had a like an inside joke. Whoever we seen crate carrying, we like, oh man, that must
Hmm.
be,
Hmm. Yeah.
that must be the new one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was suspicious. Um, we were young and we were diehards for this,
And
like
impressionable.
impressionable, right? And a lot of us didn't have fathers or relationships, a good relationship with our father. And we saw like these elders as our father figure. And man, we did so much for them, man, and the dedication was so high. I remember going up, to every first and last Wednesday to the National Black Theater, 125 and Fifth in Harlem, just so I could see my beloved brothers and sisters and build with them. And there were times where we didn't have the money to rent the National Black Theater. Like, Bam used to tour a lot, so if he wasn't there, he wasn't gonna pay, of course. And then, brothers was like young. We didn't have money, and some of the elders that would show up didn't have a dollar in their pocket either. And
They was
it'd
asking
be
us for money.
right. It'd be like, yo, 10, 15 degrees outside, January, February. And because we couldn't be at the spot, and so many of us have come from the different boroughs and some brothers and sisters out of state, from Connecticut, New Jersey, so on and so forth. We would just go to Marcus Garvey Park down the block and be on the bench in the freezing cold, be sitting in the snow, basically building, reading infinity lessons, talking about what's going on with the chapter, and then ready to go into combat with whoever didn't like us being in Harlem, because really wasn't no strong chapters in the late 90s in Harlem like that. So when we was walking around early, like late 90s, specifically like 99, 2000, we walking around, we colliding with the Bloods, arguing every day. It's about to be something because like we didn't care. Like we wasn't intimidated by nobody. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And it's like, yo, you go through all of this and then brothers look at you like you some type of because you have a different stance or viewpoint, or you standing on principle and morals, and now brothers is looking at the young Zulus like we some type of traitors. You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? You could look at me as a traitor. Yo, I'm serious. Like I'm dead
I don't
serious.
care.
Call me a traitor, call me whatever, a hypocrite, call me whatever. Oh, he's out for power. I'm not the leader of the Zulu Union. Never am, never was, nothing. I was a leader in the Universal Zulu Nation, right? Regional director. Y'all appointed it. Y'all made me a Zulu king. Y'all made me a Shaka Zulu. All my stripes come from y'all. So for y'all to discredit us, I've heard brothers talk about, yo, the Zulu Union is the Latino Zulu Nation. That shit's whack. Yo, this is whack and it's funny. It's funny
I'm
and it's
not
whack.
Latino.
Right. There's mad brothers that's, so-called FBA, Black American brothers,
Everything from
right?
everywhere.
Afro-Caribbean, Puerto Rican, Dominican, whatever, light-skinned, dark-skinned Puerto Rican, Dominicans, all types of everything, like Black Colombians, white-looking Colombians, all different nationalities, right? Whatever brothers are. I can't put it on. But we're the same Zulus that was in the Universal Zulu Nation. So if you talking like we some different off brand, y'all were all like jocking us and jacking us when we was in
Yep.
UZN.
And a
Yo,
lot of
I
y'all
ain't never
wasn't even
seen
around. A lot of y'all
right,
wasn't even around. Y'all was
right,
locked up. A lot of
yeah,
y'all was either locked up,
for
disappeared.
bank robbing. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
band might not have been paying your rent no more. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You had to finally had to get a job.
The opportunity was dry and you wasn't around. You know what I'm
Word.
saying? No opportunity to size people out of the money or whatever. And you was up out of here. We only heard your name in being mentioned or because we read your name on in a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Like, so you come back around and then you flip the script talking about that's the Latino Zulus. If you say that to my face, I guarantee you there's gonna be a static. Like, and you ain't gonna like it. I'm serious. Don't fuck with me. I'm dead serious. Don't fuck with me. I'm not for play then. I'm not for play now. Whoever.
That's a
I'm
fact. That's a
serious.
fact.
I'm
Yeah. Nah,
serious.
because it's getting out of
And
hand now. It's
like,
really getting out of
yeah,
hand with
like,
the
and
disrespect.
I don't want no beef with no brothers that I once like looked up to and admired
Right.
and had love
Right.
for. I don't want to be out here um squabbling or going 1D or, you know what I'm saying,
Right.
rumbling or, you know what I'm saying, plotting and scheming. I know where y'all at with all of it. I ain't gonna, I'm not doubting your stripes, but don't doubt my fucking stripes either, because I learned it from y'all. I learned the
Right.
sneaky warfare and all of that from y'all. You know what I'm saying? I can't even talk about what I learned from y'all, but don't make me apply the lessons that y'all gave me. You know what I'm saying? Let's just cool out, man. Be who you are. You want to jack Bam. You wanna think that the shit is a lie or some type of COINTELPRO
Mm-hmm.
scheme
Agent
to knock.
agent provocateur.
Yeah, you wanna jack that avenue, that type of lane and just never address it and just keep it pushing like this shit. We just gonna keep sweeping it under the rug. Like look at Zulu right now. It used to be crazy, wild big, and now brothers is looking at each other crazy. I don't look at no other Zulus crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Don't matter to
Well,
me. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to fight with my brothers that I looked up to. But you got to maintain respect. I respect. I'm gonna give y'all the respect if you know what I'm saying. If you earned it and deserve it, and you stand as a man. But don't be sneak talking about us for
right.
real, man.
I
Because
mean,
I don't be talking about y'all.
me personally, if you side in, if you know about what Bam is being accused of, and you rocking with him, I have no respect for you. That's me. That's me personally. I don't have no
Hmm.
respect for it. You know what I'm saying? I don't have no respect for you. For you
Yeah.
not at least like distancing yourself, like, or like I said, what happened to excommunication? What happened to that? Like
Hmm.
until you reform yourself.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Until you repent from your ways and actions. What happened to that? What happened to casting people out of the community? You know what I'm
Hmm.
saying? But it's so many of y'all so-called elders who are snakes, and y'all hide behind Islam, y'all hide behind the 5% teachings, y'all hide behind more science, y'all hide behind Wahabianism, whatever ism y'all a part of for the moment, y'all hide behind it. But you just like the brother said, you're a shyster, you know what I'm
R.I.P.
saying? A
Lord
snake,
Sharif,
a sidewinder.
a
Word.
sorcerer.
Word. You got sidewinder tactics. You know what I'm saying? And you try to use the so-called knowledge to trick people and to lure people in. You know what I'm saying? And to weaken them. Like I honestly, when I used to sit there, I absorbed some of it, but me coming from like my family structure, I never let it get too close to my mental. I never let like You know what I'm saying? Because I'm like, yo, like if my mother only knew, if my grandparents only knew, you know what I'm saying? They'd be like, man, you need to get the hell up out of there. You know what I'm saying? That don't
Mm-hmm.
sound right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? It don't sound like, and it's not even like the knowledge part of it, like the,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Just a bunch of old men. You ain't got no kids, no wife, and you around a bunch of kids. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And you supposed to be this icon. Like it's funny style. You know what
It
I mean?
is.
It's
It
funny
is.
style. You know what I mean? And we didn't even catch on to it, like because like I said, like we young, and they're presenting this stuff to us, and they beautifying it. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And we like, yeah, this is us. And like the brother Ernie used to tell us, walk like men, like back,
Mm-hmm.
like, you know, chest out, back straight. You know,
Yeah.
you Zulu, be prideful, be proud. You know what I'm saying?
Well.
People should be looking towards y'all. You know what I'm saying? Y'all the vanguard, y'all this, y'all that, propping us
Mm-hmm.
up. And meanwhile, like I said, they trying to dig in our pockets. And, you know, unfortunately, some are getting abused behind the scenes. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? And this is all the makings of a cult.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This is all the
Yeah.
making. This is no different from Malachi York. This is no
Mm-hmm.
different from none of that stuff that was going on. David Koresh and all of that stuff. And Jim Jones and all of that. It sound good on the surface. That's how they get you.
Right.
You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And they weed everybody out, like the weak versus the strong, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
Then it becomes unstoppable at a point.
Yeah, man. I want to apologize to the listeners, like, and my brother that's co-hosting with me today. Like, sometimes I get a little crazy with it with my talk, and it's not a reflection of who I am, but like, this is so like dear to me, you know what I'm saying? And like, it's so sensitive, you know what I'm saying, and triggering. Because like, when you've been a part of something for 28 years and you've really put in like your all, like I've never given to anything in this world what I've given to Zulu, the time, the energy, the blood, the sweat, the tears. So
Right.
when I just think of all these different things that people have said that have like turned me off or like kind of shattered me or broke me because I thought they were in a different space. I thought they were in a different light because I saw them like just differently. I never thought that they would like this. And I'm not saying all because there's still,
Right.
plenty of elders that stand up that are not with it, you know what I'm saying? But the few that have disappointed me, it angers me and it's triggering, you know what I'm saying? Because I didn't think brothers was gonna be on this page. And whatever, like it is what it is. You've shown who you are, and we've shown who we are. If y'all don't like us, that's cool. I'm still Zulu. Nobody gonna take that away from me. Um, that's that. You know what I'm saying? Back to the main topic though, Bambaataa, right? I think um when it comes to this, it's obviously being overshadowed by the P. Diddy situation, right? Understandable. But it does need coverage, and very few people are covering it. If you
Mm-hmm.
Google it, right, the Afrika Bambaataa lawsuit, civil lawsuit, very few people in hip hop even covered it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's because people are consumed with the Diddy situation and the Megan Thee Stallion and the Tory Lanes
Right. Right.
and whatever else buffoonery is going
Now,
on.
now, now they talking Offset trying to get spousal support from
Right.
Cardi B.
Yeah, I was
That
just
shouldn't
reading
even be
about
a
that.
headline. Like,
Right.
see, that's what I'm saying. Nobody cares about the babies. Nobody cares about disenfranchised youth.
Yeah.
And that's what, and I'm not even going to say so-called black and so-called Latino. It's disenfranchised youth. Anybody that had parents that weren't there because of work, maybe single parent household, somebody might be on drugs or somebody might just be working late. And then a predator, nobody cares about that. And a predator sweeps in and gives you candy and like, yeah, here, you got the I got video games, I got all of this stuff, and they
Hmm.
lure you in. Now you're getting molested. Now you're getting abused. Nobody
Hmm.
cares. Nobody cares about that.
Right.
These other people got money, and it's more appealing to the public because everybody loves celebrity. Everybody
Right.
loves the celebrity. I don't care about, I mean,
Hmm.
like, we talk about it, but I'm not invested in it because I really
Hmm.
don't care. You know what I'm saying? As
Yeah.
far as Diddy goes, like, if he's guilty, let him hang. Leave him there. You know what I mean? Get to it, get to what y'all gotta get to, sentence them, and be done with it. You know what I'm saying? But like when it comes to disenfranchised youth and youth that's in poverty and grew up in poverty, nobody care in the city. You know what I'm saying? Nobody
Hmm.
really cares. And it's unfortunate, and it's the truth though. Nobody's gonna say it, but it's the truth. Nobody
Hmm.
cares.
Because if people cared, it would get more coverage. It would
Right,
have people outraged, I guess, to a degree. There will be like a greater outrage and a
right.
greater call for action. And more people, I guess, planning to see like what they could do to prevent this. Because that's like
Yo,
the real
what,
key of it.
what's crazy, right? What's crazy, like now that I think about it, like I really don't like the Breakfast Club, for instance. Like, some of their videos might pop up on my YouTube feed. And depending on like what the headline is, because all of this stuff is clickbait now. People get
Hmm.
content creators use, certain titles to draw you in, like, oh, snap, word, like, let me see what
Hmm.
that's about. But like sometimes I listen, depending on who it is or depending on what the headline says, because we're
Hmm.
all guilty of it, right? I have yet to hear anybody that they've interviewed just like, I don't know if you call it breaking. I'm gonna use a wrestling term, breaking kayfabe. Like, cause you up there fronting like you something. Like,
Hmm.
yo, what about this
Some type of
Bambaataa thing?
scholar.
Like, forget all of this. Like, what about these? And it don't even gotta be Bambaataa per se. Like, what about these kids being abused?
Right.
Like, what about that? Like, forget the what do I think about Papoose and Remy Ma and Clarissa
Hmm.
Shields and Easy to Block Out
Hmm.
there. Like,
Yeah.
what are we gonna do about this? And y'all are the outlet. Y'all are the
Yeah.
outlet. Everybody listens to y'all. People call in with the stupid
Yeah.
stuff. Y'all got stupid. Y'all think everything is a joke. Everything is turned into a
Yeah.
joke,
Donkey of
and
the
it's funny,
day and
right? And all of this stuff.
to me, it's
And
just like
Diddy,
a mockery. It's like a
right,
mockery
Charlemagne
of
was once when Diddy was the like, and I don't know if he was in charge of
mm-hmm.
Revolt or whatever, or iHeartRadio, whatever it was, but they were like Jack and Diddy. And as soon as this happened, as soon as it started getting real, now Charlemagne is cracking jokes, and it's still not funny. For
Yeah,
real, it's not
it's
funny
really not.
because
It's
because
really
somebody
not.
was getting pimped out, people were getting abused in that.
Yeah.
People were getting abused in that. Somebody was getting, Cassie was getting abused. Whether y'all say she was down with the thing, she ain't asked to get beat. She ain't asked to get beat up.
Or
You know what I'm saying? So y'all making fun of the situation. So her getting beat up is part of the situation too. But nobody is getting up there like, yo, stop asking me these questions. What about this? What about him? You know what I'm saying? What about y'all forgot about it? Y'all
mm-hmm.
forgot, like, and I understand, like, in all respect to Hassan Campbell, you know, obviously he's hurt. Obviously he's somebody that suffered from abuse prior to Bam because he said it himself. But
Mm-hmm.
like I know people like listen to him and they be like, yo, 1 minute you this and 1 minute you that. Like, and he needs some type of counseling. And I don't think YouTube is the place for it. For him to
Mm-hmm.
get his therapy, he needs like professional help. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? But
And
people see him going from one extreme to the next. So now it's making his story look crazy. But I believe him. You know what I'm saying?
oh yeah, yeah.
I
I mean
believe
it
him
it
because
aligns with all the other
with
stories.
everybody else. Right,
Yeah.
exactly. So for the
Uh,
people that's like not believing him and all of that, forget all the other stuff that he
mm-hmm.
be talking about. Forget that stuff. Focusing on why you started listening to him in the first place.
Right.
And I'm not
Right.
excusing his behavior. I'm not
Right.
excusing it because it's
Mm-hmm.
inexcusable. But this
Mm-hmm.
man has
He has a
pain,
lot of
like
pain. A
real,
lot of pain.
a lot of pain, and he's older than us. He's
Yeah, he's a
almost
few
50
years.
years old,
Yeah,
and
he's
this
a few
stuff been
years older.
happening. This stuff was happening when he was very young. So imagine holding all of that.
Right.
and then going
Under
to
your
jail
cap.
and doing, oh, yo, you still with Bambaataa. What happened when was um these key words that urban people like to use, like key phrases, Stockholm syndrome? What happened to that? What happened to,
Hmm.
oh, we got Stockholm syndrome from this, so he don't have Stockholm syndrome? So now
Hmm.
he liked it, he dated him, he was in a relationship with him because he
Yeah.
spazzed on you, or he said
Yeah.
something you might not have liked. Now he was in a relationship with him, and why did
Yeah.
you go back to him and all of that? So now he
Right.
doesn't have Stockholm syndrome. We're not using that
Right.
no more. We're not
The
giving him that grace.
the comments are disgusting. And I
Yeah,
want to
but
say something. Not that I'm sorry to break your wisdom. Go ahead,
no,
finish what
no,
you were
no. It's
saying.
cool. It's cool. It's cool. Now go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done.
Okay. When people say, oh, he went back to Bambaataa, he loved it. It's sick. So I want
Nah,
to
it
tell
is.
y'all, like, y'all know, or maybe you don't understand the dynamics of being in a street organization. He was a Zulu, right? He was brought up by Zulu King B.O., Zulu King Bug Out of the Bronx, who was the supreme captain of Shaka Zulu, right? The most feared and revered member of the organization, probably worldwide. Someone that was
Mhm.
managing
As I
showbiz
tell.
in
Mm-hmm.
AG. He had a lot of rappers around him. I don't like to say, even though it's been known, some may say that he extorted them or he managed them. Whatever his business dealings were with them, he was feared and revered by most of the people in the industry. To the point where I heard that he was like the influence or the inspiration for Suge Knight's character. Like he wanted to be like B.O. You know what I'm saying? The bald head, all of that. Like, so take what you want. You know what I'm saying? He was basically like the Suge Knight of the Bronx, right?
Mm-hmm.
And y'all know the story. If y'all don't know the story, he was killed
Mm-hmm.
by Twin from Sex Money Murder. He was taken out because people feared him.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much the best way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
People felt he was a threat,
He was a threat,
and
right?
he had to go in their
Right.
mind,
Right.
right? This is the dude that brought Hassan Campbell into the Zulu Nation, right? As a child, basically. He was called Baby B.O. Now, for you to say, oh, you went back to Bambaataa, no, you're an idiot. It's not about going back to Bambaataa. When you Zulu, you're going to bump into Bambaataa, right? If right now the Universal Zulu Nation was fully functioning as a whole, like if we never, the young brothers never split off and did the Zulu Union and we were all together, if all this never happened or whatever, I would probably see Bambaataa. We would be in the mix somewhere if all this wasn't going on. He's in the mix with the elders. He's in the mix with the Shaka Zulus that raised him. So he's gonna be around Bambaataa, whether he like it or not. If you say you saw a picture with him, I saw him around too. I seen him in Bronx River Day. I seen him
Mm-hmm.
today in the National Black Theater when I believe he revealed it to the elders that Bambaataa violated him. I was talking to Poppy at both functions. We had interactions. We had all types of things
Mm-hmm.
going on with him.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like, all right, y'all saw him with Bambaataa. That doesn't mean that they was eating dinner. They had a candlelight dinner and eating steaks. You know what I'm saying? Like he was around for Zulu, not for Bam. He was around to do his job as a Shaka Zulu, secure events, functions, whether he was getting paid
Mm-hmm.
for it or not, I don't know. That's his business. But don't think that he went crawling back to Bambaataa because he liked being violated or he liked abuse. It's irresponsible and it's disgusting. Y'all always assuming somebody is up to no good in our community or you know what I'm saying? Y'all never like look at it a different way other than like a negative light. That man don't want to experience what he experienced. Like, and again, y'all probably heard him say, he was like the uncle that did great things for you, but then also did bad things to you. So, you know, and again, like Watt referenced Stockholm syndrome. You know what I'm saying? And I don't want to talk on that brother's story because it's well documented. He spoke on
Right.
this, but y'all continue to ridicule him and shame him in the comments. I'm pretty sure, first off, the brother's strong enough to deal with what took place. He don't give a flying fuck about y'all comments. It's not harming him. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And right now he's living a pretty good life. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm.
I pray that he continues to heal and may Allah guide him
I
and
mean,
continue to strengthen him on a daily basis because I think most of us, and when I say us, I mean y'all that's joking and commenting. If y'all experience what Hassan Campbell experienced, you probably would have jumped off a cliff, jumped in front of traffic, been,
blew your brains out.
blew your brains out, been
Hmm.
on drugs. You would have had some serious mental health issues. So it's not something to be joking around with. And you know what, y'all? It's not just him, it's other brothers too that's dealing with this pain. People were shouting him out, congratulating him. When John Doe, I saw it on social media. That's cool. But just don't forget that there's other brothers that are in this same boat as him and other people, survivors in general. I'm sure other
Hmm.
survivors, not even about just Bambaataa, read these comments that people leave Hassan and other survivors of sexual abuse or domestic violence and all these things are triggering to people and y'all could
Hmm.
just care less because all y'all want to do is get 250 likes on the
Hmm.
comment
On a
and
comment, right?
a
Yep.
couple of LOLs, or y'all think
Hmm.
because now your comment went viral and everyone's giggling at it like you lit
That you
right
about
now
to pop off and
yeah.
get be a
Yeah,
content creator.
I went viral.
My
I got a
comment went
platform
viral.
now. Yeah,
Yeah, right,
yeah, 10
right.
bozos added you and followed you or whatever, and they don't care. Like they just want to see you crash out and because you're an idiot. You know what I'm saying? Like it's
Oh,
stupid, man. It's stupid. You know what I mean? And I don't wish this on no one, man. Um, but what I was trying to say earlier was very few people in hip hop media covered it. Rolling Stone covered it. The Guardian covered it. Neither one of hip hop publications. Maybe I missed it, but I can't find it on Double XL. I can't find it on the source. I can't.
mm-mm.
I don't think I saw it on
Hip Hop DX.
allhiphop.com. I didn't see it on Hip Hop DX. If I'm wrong, my apologies, but I don't feel no one covered this on any of the platforms. You know what I'm saying? But, everything else that y'all cover be so like goofy and so whack. But
So-called low
something,
vibration. We gotta use the new
yeah,
term, low
right,
vibrating, low
right, yeah, low
vibration.
vibrations, but something that's so important, the godfather of the culture, right? The one that coined the term and then broke up the elements and
Hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like basically, and then had the first world tour like to bring hip hop to Europe and all these other places. Like I said, the godfather of hip hop culture did this, and y'all don't want to talk about it. And y'all could be scared. Maybe y'all scared to talk about Bam. Um, it's understandable. It's understandable,
They're
but
not scared to talk about Diddy.
right,
And
y'all
he
not
was
scared to talk about
allegedly he was allegedly doing whatever,
yeah about the
clipping,
action. Yeah,
yeah, threatening people and all
yeah
of
about
that.
the action. So yo, there needs to be more people that's talking about it, man. And you don't have to take my stance on it. You don't have to walk down the way I'm walking with this, because like this is the pain that I've experienced. Like, um, so it hits different for me, and I deal with a little bit of emotion and anger and bitterness because I wish none of this took place, but it did take place, and I'm not gonna be in denial of it. And I
Wow.
really encourage the Zulus that's in the dark to wake up, and I'm saying this to anybody, not addressing it towards the UZN or the Zulu Union. When I say the Zulus, I mean everybody, man. Like you gotta like wake up and stand on the truth. If you love Zulu and you stand true to the principles, the laws, the lessons, the so-called beliefs within this organization, like yo, you gotta take action, some type of action, verbal action, plan of action, whatever it is to stand on the truth. Because if you ain't standing on the truth, then you standing on the lie. And how could you build something on a lie? You know what I'm saying? Like we always talk about the foundation got to be strong if you're going to build something. If the foundation is a lie, how are we going to build this back up? It's never going to be built back up. You know what I mean? And on everything, like the Zulu Union, we're striving our best to put things in place to move forward. You know what I'm saying? It's a challenge, but you got to stand on truth, and we got to like find a way to address this when needed, and stick by the survivors. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who matters most. Even the organization, like it's doesn't even matter to a degree. It's the people, the youth, the babies that matters. You know what I'm saying? So what kind of legacy are we gonna leave behind? We're gonna leave behind a legacy full of dark secrets, covering the rug, right? Is that the legacy that y'all wanna have? Um, or yeah, I used to be the man in Zulu, or used to be a Zulu king, and I'm not active no more. I'm not doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? That's nothing. You ain't doing nothing. You ain't putting your boots on every day and getting to work. You ain't striving to find a solution or a resolution. You're not looking to protect the brothers and the sisters from harm moving forward. If you love Zulu, you got to accept the truth and find a way to work through this and build this back up. You know what I mean?
Word.
But it takes accountability. It's the first thing that we need, accountability. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, we almost at an hour with this. Um, again, if I apologize for talking out of character or talking aggressively, but I'm just talking from the heart because this is very dear to me, and it's caused a lot of pain and a lot of anger and frustration and a lot of stress. You know what I mean? But people that know me know I love Zulu, and I love my brothers and sisters that stand on truth. And I just want us to, build it back up, man, to the best of our abilities. But it got to be in truth, it got to be in transparency, and it got to be strong so that we don't never allow someone to perpetrate um and harm our family members. You
Actual
know what I
fact.
mean? Word. But thank you for tuning in to Spears and Mikes. Um, Not an easy episode, not an easy topic for us to discuss, but we strive to bring you the news with our take, our feelings, our story, and our thoughts, man. And I hope y'all understood it, and I hope y'all respected it. And if you don't like it, when you see me, let's talk about it, or whatever, with whatever. Real shit.
Word.
Peace.
Peace.